Naomi.
Hi, Anne-Marie. How are you?
I'm well. So I am so excited to interview you. I know that we've been talking about it for a long time and we've been trying to get our schedules together. I know that you're very busy at the Clinical Academy doing wonderful things.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, so for those of you that might not know Naomi, I can't imagine how that would be, but Naomi collaborated with Perma Blend for the tones of Perma Blend. And she put a lot of love and dedication and hard work into that series, along with the tools that she's created. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But Naomi, maybe just introduce yourself and where you started your career in permanent makeup.
Sure. So I'm Naomi O'Hara and I am the training director of the Clinical Academy, where we run everything from really basic beauty therapy to advanced beauty therapy. We teach cosmetic tattooing, medical tattooing. And I started my career, I've been in the beauty industry and the spa industry for many years, and I just wanted to do something very different. So my personal life changed massively. I got divorced and had two small children. I thought I have to do something and invest this money that I had into something. And I decided to invest it into me and learned how to do cosmetic tattooing and basically never looked back. It became really busy really quickly. And you know, when I started it 16 years ago, not many people knew about it. So I spent a lot of my time educating my clients, doing open evenings to say what it was. And now there's lots more people that do it. I don't have to do that anymore. And so many people have it. So it's kind of got busier and busier the whole time I've been in the industry.
How brilliant. That was a profound statement that you decided to invest that money into yourself. What an amazing statement that is.
Thank you. And I think probably I reflect on that often because everybody thought, all my friends and my family thought I was absolutely crazy. And I actually didn't tell the truth to my parents. I mean, I was 28. I was a grown woman. I had two children of my own. I told my parents it was a lot less to train than it was because I didn't want them to freak out. But it literally was the best thing I ever did because I just was very aware if I didn't change anything, nothing would change. And I'd be earning the same money, doing lots of crazy hours with two small boys. And it just was the best decision I ever made, even though everyone thought I was absolutely meant to do it.
Right. And it's grown into an amazing business.
Yeah. So now I've got my treatments business. We've got a clinic and we've also got a training academy to teach other people. And I hope that some of my experience, my passion and my journey that I've been on gets rubbed off onto some of our students, because a lot of them are in that position where I sat in my training thinking I have got to make this work. I've got no choice but to make this work. And I see a lot of that in them. They put a lot of pressure on themselves when they spent their life savings on training. And that's what I think drives me to give them support that I do, because I've been in that position.
Do you share that story when you're in training?
Not every training, no, I don't. But I do in some of my classes, my smaller classes, where people do say to me, you know, where did you start this? Then I do. And I did an interview with Scott Triggs about a year ago, and I said that, and we've had a lot of students come to us off the back of that, actually, because they can resonate with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. So I know that you also do education within the system in the UK, right? Can you talk about that a little bit?
We're very involved with writing qualifications, so government qualifications, and also a lot of the large colleges who get funding for training. We actually deliver the training as their kind of expert associates, if you like, so that their trainers don't have to train in it and be kind of fountain of all knowledge for all the training that they do. They choose to come to us for the practical side and sometimes the theory side of training. So the learners get the best of both worlds, really. They get to go through a major college and they get us to deliver their training at the same time. So it's great.
That's brilliant, actually. I wish that we did that here in the States.
Yeah, we have a lot of involvement training nurses as well in
Oh.
some of the big hospitals also for the medical tattooing, and that's fabulous. That's so
Mm,
up my street. I love
really?
that.
So let's talk about the tones of Perma
Yeah.
Blend. So tell us what you were thinking when you came to Perma Blend and said, I have an idea. What was the what started that thinking?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that, because I have recently been asked that, and I think it was when I met you in Vegas, and we were talking about the colours and doing a bit of a colour theory video for Perma Blend. And I think I'd been using Perma Blend colours for probably about 2.5 years then, and I just found that some of the terminology that you guys had created really inspired me. Things like the healed value. I'd never heard that before, and that I just felt was a genius, because if you can tell someone this pigment's got a healed value, a light healed value, or a mid healed value, or a dark healed value, to me that makes so much sense, because you can then think, okay, I need something quite dark. My client's got a dark skin tone. I need a darker healed value. And if they're fairer, you use one that's got a lighter healed value. I loved that. So when you and I started chatting about some of the colours that I was mixing, and I think that you were quite surprised at some of the colours that I was mixing together, and I kind of had a thought that I want to use something called a warmth value. So you created the healed value. And when I'm pre-modifying or used pre-modified pigments in the past, I'd always wondered how much they've been modified by. So to actually tell someone this is a pre-modified pigment, it has been modified by this much, for me, I thought, okay, that's what I want to create. So I wanted to make the pigments easy to use. So you can, if you know your client's Fitzpatrick type, you know what sets to go to initially, and create something which has got a warmth value. So you know, I need a really high warmth value. My client's really cool. Or I don't need quite a high warmth value. They're kind of neutral to cool. So I don't need something quite so warm. So that was my thought process behind it.
Wonderful. And it was, the timing of it was perfect. And the colors created were unique to the brand. So that was, you know, as we were going back and forth, and I know you were looking at the other colors in the brand. And then when the sets came together, and then having a modifier in each of those sets, I thought was brilliant too. And
Yeah.
each modifier in that set is different for each set, right?
Exactly, because I was finding that I love warming up my pigments, so I wanted to warm them up, but if I had someone that was super blonde and super fair and pale, I didn't want to warm it up but make my color darker. So to have a lighter version of a modifier to warm up seemed like the obvious choice for me. And then with the other end of the spectrum, to have something super warm, so you only needed to add a couple of drops of it, so red hot mod. If you only add a couple of drops, it's so warm that actually it doesn't lighten your darker pigments. So that's really where that thought process came from.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so when you finished that and we put the colors together and we created these sets, there's set 1, set 2, and set 3, right?
Yeah.
Set 1 is for Fitzpatrick
1 to 2.
And set 2
is the Fitzpatrick 3 to 4, and set 3 is for Fitzpatrick 5 to 6. So
right.
it is, as long as you are choosing your client's Fitzpatrick and the sets, you can't really go wrong. And then we went one step further to create these tools, which is these are the color rulers, which basically, if you can choose your client's Fitzpatrick, you can understand what undertones you're seeing, what undertone colors. These will tell you which pigments are perfect for that skin tone. So for instance, I use red riding hood, which is the modifier, but I use that neat sometimes on someone that's very fair, got huge amounts of freckles, and I think you're going to be really cool, you're going to pull very ashy very quickly. I might use that on its own because I want something really high warmth value. If I've got someone that's more mine or your colouring, and actually for me and you to have really warm brows or any warmth in our brows, they're going to look odd to our hair color. So Diamond Pearl has got a 0 warmth value, so we can have that, and we actually can choose a color that we want to look really ashy.
Awesome. So brilliant. I just love it. And then there is a color wheel as well.
There's a color compass, yeah, and that came about. That actually is for any pigment range. So I had a discussion with somebody on one of my Facebook support groups, and basically it dawned on me that the artist color wheel that we were using was only 2/3 right for permanent makeup and microblading. So she was right in what she was saying. Her client had red skin, and opposite red on the artist color wheel is green. So she was using a green-based pigment, thinking that was right because her client's got red skin. But actually, red skin in permanent makeup terms is cool. So she was adding a cool pigment. She was wondering why she was getting very grey outcomes to her work. And I thought, my gosh, we are using something that is not fit for purpose. It's not fit for us to use. So I created a colour compass that has got one side for colour corrections. You can determine what colour your brow is, if it's gone blue or purple or pink, tell you what colour to use. And on the other side, it's about skin challenges and skin types. So a black skin or a really fair skin, olive undertones. You've got someone that's got dry or oily skin. If you can determine what skin you're actually tattooing, again, it will tell you how to modify or what color base pigment to use.
Wonderful. Just brilliant. It really is just brilliant. So the whole concept is a system.
Yes.
And if you understand the system, you can't go wrong.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And so
it's really simple.
Yes. Well, it was just brilliant. It was so much fun working with you and getting to know you during that time, and working with you in Vegas and doing our class in Charlotte and all of that. We've had many years together, and so I've gotten to know you personally as well, and you're just a lovely, lovely woman, and it's been an honor to work with you. So
I love working with you.
Thank you. So is there anything else that you want to tell everybody?
I think that just to get the rulers when you've got your sets, they're available individually now as well. I think that it's good to get the sets because you really can compare things. So if you're not sure about your colors or you really want to compare them, by getting the sets, you can really see this color's warmer than this color, or this color's got more green in this color. You have that comparison. And for me, that is what makes these sets so easy and simple to use. But the color rulers as well are really what tie all of this, like you say, this system in together. And they just work really well. They are just all the brow color you need really for every single client that comes through. So just to make that perfect shade of brown for each and every client.
Right. And I always, every chance I get, I always talk about drawdowns and playing with your color and getting to know the colors that you're working with, because that's a really important aspect of being an artist that a lot of people don't do, and it's really just very important.
I agree. I put it in since knowing you, I've put that actually in my color theory class. Just play with your pigments, draw them down on with a wet cotton bud on that blank piece of paper, and the comparison and the contrast between the white and the color on the page, and it almost bleeds into the page. You can really see the base tone of that pigment color. So I do that on all of my color classes now. On my online color class, we talk about getting to know your pigments.
Great.
That is just such a difference that's made.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure, my dear.
And
I love seeing your face. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for yours.
And I'm sure everybody will enjoy this interview with Naomi O'Hara from the Clinical Academy.